Hey, this is a quick video to address shoulder flips in woven wrapping. The term shoulder flip is kind of a confusing term because it can actually refer to two different things. One kind of shoulder flip, which we're not talking about in this video, is in a back carry, if you pretend I have a baby on my back. When you have the wrap coming under your arm and you're flipping it back up over your shoulder. That is one kind of like an over the shoulder flip. It's not what we're talking about in this video. In this video, we're talking about the shoulder flips that involve the wrap flipping or twisting near your shoulder, near your collarbone, which changes the rails and changes the size. This happens in carries like Kangaroo, Twisted Pirate, stuff like that. And so the big question people have is the flip direction important? Is it possible for me to flip it the wrong way? And if so, what's so bad about that? And the answer is yes, sort of. It's not going to ruin your carry completely if you flip it the wrong way, but there are reasons to do it one way or the other. And it's opposite for front carries and back carries, which makes it even trickier. So I'm going to show you, and hopefully in a way that will be memorable, so that you'll know for every carry which way the flip works best. So this is Kangaroo carry. It's a very popular front carry, and it's very comfy. It has shoulder flips on both shoulders where the wrap flips, so you can see the wrong side of the wrap is showing on both of my shoulders, and the right side of the wrap is showing across baby's back. And this just helps keep tension on the rails of the wrap. If I left this whole thing bunched up on my shoulders, kind of like doing a rucksack back carry, just the shape of the body on the front means that this bottom rail is having to travel a lot longer distance than the top rail, and you just can't tighten that top rail enough to make up for that difference. And so you end up with a lot of top rail slack, and that top rail is what's supporting baby's upper spine and their neck, especially for a floppy newborn with not a lot of neck support. And so that shoulder flip just adds that little bit of needed extra length into that rail to keep it nice and snug and provide support for baby. So as far as the flip direction is concerned, the big thing with a front carry and all shoulder flip carries is that your priority is to prevent leaning and to provide as much neck support, or for an arms out baby, back support as possible. And so what you want to do is make sure that whatever rail, the top rail that is supporting baby's neck or upper back, is on the bottom side of the flip, pinned underneath. So you can see here, the bottom rails under baby's bum is coming up over top of this flip, whereas the top rail behind baby's neck is on the bottom side of the flip, going underneath, which is going to make this carry as supportive and as lean proof as possible. The other thing I'd like to point out with the flip done correctly is that for a lot of capped shoulders like Robin's hip carry or ring slings, if you've ever heard me talk about distributing the excess width of the carry, I talk about moving all that bunching down to the bottom rail onto my arm and not having any bunching up by my neck, so the wrap is smooth with all the bunching down on the arm. And you'll notice I did the opposite here. I'm going to see if I can redistribute this to do it the other way. I tightened it the other way, so it's hard to move it now. But you can see this gets really weird, and now this arm is capped and snug, and it does restrict your movement a little bit for the sake of support, kind of move my arm around a bit and do stuff. And this arm is absolutely pinned to the side of my body. It's actually getting a little diggy, even with just the weight of my little 5-pound demo doll. And this is spreading out in a way that makes, it's just getting weird and unsupportive. And so, I gotta fix it. So I really prefer the bunching at the top rail in this case. And again, it's one of those rules of, well, how do I know when to bunch it at the top rail by my neck and which carries to bunch it at the bottom rail by my shoulder, by my arm? And this goes back to what rail is it connected to. With a ring sling, I'm bunching it down on my arm at the bottom rail because that is going across my back and connected to the seat. And with the seat of the wrap, I like all that bunching excess width at the bottom rail. And so it's connecting and bunched at the same spot. Well, in Kangaroo, I have all my excess width bunched right here in the bottom rail under baby's bum. But that bottom rail flips and it's right here by my neck. And so I still want that excess bunching all right there on my neck. This is Kangaroo flipped the wrong way, which if this is the worst thing you do with your Kangaroo carry, it's going to be okay. But let me just show you why this is considered the wrong way. With this one, I flipped it so this top rail that's supporting baby's neck is actually on the outside of the flip, and the bottom rail under baby's seat is the bottom side of the flip, right here, running underneath the flip. And so, at first glance, they look really similar. But I don't know if you've noticed, but in the 30 seconds I've been talking to you, I've had to readjust this 3 times because it keeps on wanting to pop up onto my shoulders. It's way more prone to that than when you flip it the correct way. And the other thing is, let me see if I can get an angle where you can see this top rail. It creates an open, almost like a bowl. And so this top rail is not pinned against my body. There's nothing keeping it against my body. If baby were to forcibly lean back, if I was wrapping a baby who is leaning back, you can see how much space I'm able to push that back. No matter how much I try to tighten slack out of those rails, there's still just so much room for baby to push back and make more space, and that makes the carry a lot less lean proof for a wiggly baby. It also just means that a smaller baby has less neck support and less upper back support. So shoulder flips also show up in back carries too. This example is Twisted Pirate. You'll have to have a little patience with me and my poor wrapping here. Twisted Pirate is not a particularly good little baby carry, so it's not wrapped particularly well, and my newborn sized doll is kind of drowning in the passes back there, but it's just a doll, so we're okay. And I'm gonna I finished this so you can see the 2 chest passes, but I'm gonna untie it so you can see the shoulder flip in action. So the first pass of Twisted Pirate is a cap shoulder with a shoulder flip going into a one-sided chest pass. And you can see here that I flipped it the opposite way from the way I flipped Kangaroo. So this rail from the top of my neck is on the bottom side, and it's creating kind of that, that open, the bowl that I described before. But this still follows the rule because baby's on my back. Baby's not in this front pass. So if this was hip kangaroo and baby was in this front pass, you'd want the top rail behind baby's neck to be on the bottom side of the flip, where it's not here. But baby's on my back. So the top rail behind baby's neck is this one by my neck, which is the bottom side of the flip now. So that's how you remember it for a front carry versus a back carry, is it's whatever rail is going behind baby's neck or behind baby's upper back to make the carry the most lean proof goes on the bottom side of the flip. And here it's not making it as lean proof after the fact, because either way, if baby's going to lean, they're going to be pulling back on the wrap that way behind me, which is going to pull this whole twist in towards me. It's not going to open up the same way it did with Kangaroo. With this carry, it has more to do with the actual wrapping process. So when you first have your initial seat and you go to make that second pass, right now, even though you have a seat supporting baby's legs, the top rail is what is really maintaining the height on your back, keeping baby on your back and secure. And the top rail is really the most crucial safety aspect of an uncompleted carry. So if I flip it the wrong way, and I flip it this way, so that the top rail over baby's neck is on the top side of the flip, and then I go to make my chest pass. If you look at this, that top rail, and I'm going to go, spread my second pass over baby's back and try and get it high. And the entire time I'm working, this top rail behind baby's neck is totally just loose and flopping. There's nothing holding baby securely onto my back. And so baby could lean off my back, or just best case scenario is I'm going to introduce a lot of slack and baby's going to slide down and I'm going to end up with a saggy carry. Whereas if I go back to my initial seat alone, losing my seat, that's okay, and I flip it the right way so that the top rail behind baby's neck is on the bottom side of the flip, you'll notice that flip, as I'm working, trying to get this out of the way so you can actually see what I'm doing. As I'm working on this and spreading that second pass and keeping tension on that rail, this twist, the flip, is actually keeping some tension on that top rail for me and helping keep the carry secure. So that's the main thing with the flip direction in back carries, is it's just helping you during the wrapping process to keep your carry secure as you wrap. It's a little less crucial in the finished product. If you can get to a finished wrap job with a back carry and you're flipped the wrong direction, it's not going to affect you too badly. Whereas in a front carry, flipped the wrong way, it can create a bit of a problem with leaning. So I hope that added some clarity to shoulder flips and which direction to go for each carry.